And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel.
The Talmud began as an oral law prevalent at the time of Christ, and it was Jesus Christ himself who accused the Jewish leaders of his day of usurping the message of the patriarchs and prophets of the Old Testament by this oral law, which Christ labeled the tradition of the elders. Enraged by Christ's censure, the Jewish elders arranged for Jesus Christ to be crucified, and ignoring the significance of his resurrection, committed their tradition to writing, which reached its final form in 800 A.D. in the multi-volume set known as the Talmud.
Now, you may be wondering, Bishop, what does the Rothschilds have anything to do with the House of Windsor? It's the Rothschilds that put them into power. It's the Rothschilds that put their cousins, the Romanovs, in power. And it's the second cousins of the House of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, called the House of Kaiser Wilhelm in Germany. So you got three cousins, the House of Windsor, Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, Germans, the Romanovs through the Russian Federation, whose origin is out of the Prussian Empire, Germany, and the bloodline of Kaiser Wilhelm in Germany. You got three dynastic families put into power by one family who calls themselves Rothschilds, Rothschilds. The Bacharachs had designed both the Talmud and the Sanhedrin Council. The Bacharachs go back to the day of Christ, design a demonic doctrine in an attempt to replace the Torah. That demonic entity is called the Talmud.
The Talmud, first and foremost, blasphemes the Lord Jesus Christ, calling him a magician who is now in hell, boiling in his own excrement. The Talmud also blasphemes Christ's Holy Mother, the Virgin Mary, calling her a hairdresser, a prostitute who had sex with carpenters. Then the Talmud spews its venom on the Gentiles to be treated less than subhumans, defrauded, cheated, and even murdered as civilians in times of war, though they be innocent women and children. Thus we find world Jewry condoning the atrocities committed against the people of the Gaza Strip by the Israelis. Why? Because, as historian Israel Shahak points out in his book, Jewish Religion, Jewish History, Jewry's disparaging attitude toward the Gentiles has been formed, set in stone, throughout the centuries by the writings of the Jewish Talmud. Indeed, the Talmud, formative of Judaism since the time of Christ, is nothing less than a religion of a tribal crime syndicate. The true followers of the patriarchs and prophets of the Old Testament are those who have embraced the hopes and predictions of those holy men, realized and fulfilled in the New Testament. As a former Jew, now an Orthodox Christian, I'm a follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. What about you?
Make way, the priest is coming! Out of the way, clear the way, the priest is here! Habakkuk is here!
This lying cheat was never blind.
What?
We of the temple know that he only pretended to be blind in order to earn his living.
He's right, he's a liar! I've known him a long time, he's never been blind!
And what's your story? That you can give sight to the blind?
I came into this world to give sight to those who cannot see. And to take away sight from those who can.
What do you mean by that? That we who are righteous are blind?
If you were blind, you would be without sin. But since you say we see, your sin remains.
That's true! This man wants through the devil! No! He's a cheat! A fanatic! Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees! Hypocrites all! For you set up the kingdom of heaven against men! You do not go in yourselves, nor do you let others enter! Blind guides! You strain at a gnat and swallow a camel! You bow before the letter of the law and violate the heart of the law! Justice, mercy, good faith! You are like whited sepulchres, all clean and fair without, but within, full of dead men's bones and all corruption. You see these stones, do you not? I tell you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. Yours is a house of desolation, the home of the lizard and the spider. Serpents, brood of vipers, how can any of you escape damnation? You shall not see me here again, not until you learn to cry, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." For I and my Father are one and the same.
genealogy shows that I'm descended from Vlad the Impaler, you see. So I do have a bit of a stake in the country.
As it were.
But Transylvania was designed by the descendants of Odoacer to produce witches and warlocks and what they call, Pastor Jill, count and countesses. What is a count? What is a countess? The term count / countess came up from the Roman Empire. They were bloodline agents who perform bloodletting. The term count is not a name of European royalty. It didn't start like that. It started during the time of the Roman Empire, Pastor Simon, where counts would give what they call a blood count. A countess would give prophet what they call a blood countess. So the medical industry says, what is your blood count? So your blood count originates from blood counters, where they were count by pints how much blood they extracted from children, from adolescents, from young adults, from seniors, going back as early as the Babylonian Empire by way of the Roman Empire. This is where you get the medical term, what's your blood count? So counts and countesses, the term count means not just companion, but going back to Rome, they would count the amount of blood that they had extracted from their victims to give unto the gods of Rome. Now, getting back to Odoacer, capital Odoacer, he is the first German king of Italy who brought down the Roman Empire in 476 AD. He is a blood descendant of Simon Magus, centuries going back to Acts 8. The bloodline of Odoacer would be the Anatolians, who then called themselves Turkish Khazarian. The bloodline of the Anatolians is connected to the worship of fallen angels. Going back to Genesis 6, Enoch 6, Jude 6, 6, 6, 6. In the bloodline of the Anatolians, from Simon Magus, Odoacer, Romulus and Remus, the Anatolians, is the bloodline of Thyatira. Gaia, capital Gaia, Tira, Tera, that according to Jewish antiquity was the name of a fallen female angel. Along with another fallen angel was an angel by the name of Chaos. Capital Chaos, chaos, which means nothingness. I'm tracing not just bloodline, but bloodlining to what is happening today with the House of Windsor. Simon Magus, Odoacer, Attila the Hun, and through the bloodline of the inhabitants of Transylvania. Odoacer, who brought down the Roman Empire in 476 AD, through the bloodline gave birth to Attila the Hun. The term Hun represents nomadic warriors. And through that bloodline of Attila the Hun would produce Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, the Rurik kids, Rurikids, the Romanovs, all from Simon Magus, Odoacer, who overtook the Roman Empire in 476 AD, through Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, to the House of Windsor. You can't make this stuff up, Pastor Rankin. No one's teaching this. Odoacer, who brought down the Roman Empire, the first German king of Italy, would also produce generationally, thousands of years later, would produce a bloodline out of Poland called the Kosminskis. Capital Kozminski, Kaminsky. Through a man by the name of Solomon Isaac, Icek Kosminski. In connection to the bloodline of Odoacer, Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun, going back to Simon Magus. Operation London Bridge. Now wait a minute, you're thinking, what and who is the bloodline of the Kosminskis? The Kosminskis' bloodline had produced a young man by the name of Aaron Mordecai Kosminski, Kozminski, who is better known in history as Jack the Ripper. So, back to the Serpent, Odoacer, who brought down the Roman Empire, Genghis Khan, Vlad the Impaler, now Jack the Ripper, who was a Khazarian Polish killer. The real name for Jack the Ripper is Aaron, Aron, Mordke, Mordke, which means Mordecai, Kosminski, Kozminski, better known as Jack the Ripper, in the bloodline that would produce the House of Windsor. Let that sink in.
Now let's go back 2,000 years.
London, England was established by the Roman Empire during the year of 43 AD after one of the names of the Roman gods of power called Londinium. Londinium, capital Londinium. Londinium was one of the main gods of governmental power in the Roman Empire. They established the city of what you call London today. As a side point, the term nodnol, N-O-D-N-O-L, there was a secret society within the Roman government around the time that they established London in 43 AD, called the secret society of Nod-Nols, a weird term, Nodnol, a secret society of females who would traffic children for the Roman Empire. When you take the Roman term Nod-Nol and write it from left to right rabbinically, you get the term London. We're not talking about the city of London as a corporation. The territory of London, called Londinium, was established by Rome as the Roman Londinium in 43 AD. And also the term Londinium then gives birth to a title of the governor of Rome called a Brit. Listen, my brothers and sisters, you call yourself British. A Brit, B-R-I-T, had exacted physical punishment upon those citizens of Rome who could not pay their mortgage or rent. They were rent into pieces. This is where you get the term Britain, to rip in order to tame the individuals, the people of Rome. And the term Brit or Britain also becomes a Bulgarian term for a governor of a Roman province who were worshipers of nature through the religion of Gaia. Listen to this witch by the name of Oprah Winfrey. School's in session.
And I love this quote that Eckhart has. This is one of my favorite quotes in chapter 1, where he says, "Man made God in his own image. The eternal, the infinite, and unnameable was reduced to a mental idol that you had to believe in and worship as my God or our God." Now, I think that's very eloquently put.
The term England, when you examine the first 5 letters, it reveals a Roman term that has become a Scandinavian term, Engla. Capital E-N-G-L-A. And for those of you students concerning fallen angels to study, the term Engla is also the name of a fallen angel in Scandinavian demonology. Engla. Then the term land. Fallen angel Engla over a land called England. Thereby, 95% of the world speaks a demonic tongue of a fallen angel, Egla, over the land, and that dialect is called English, Leash, which is the weakest language upon the earth.
I know that these are difficult things to learn, especially for those of us who are English speaking. We thought we were somehow superior to the rest of the world. But listen to this Bible verse. There's a prophecy that God is going to give us a new and perfect language. Zephaniah 3:9, it's a prophecy. "For then I will restore to the people a pure language, that they may all call on the name of the Lord to serve him with one accord."
So London, or Londinium, is established by the Roman Empire in 43 AD. Now, the Corporation of London, that's another entity altogether. So you have London, but you have the corporation. So the corporation is inside of a second London called the Region of London. So the corporation then, through the 1297 Magna Carta, which is actually a Roman legalistic term, that in 1297, the Magna Carta of Roman law, through the Edward I seal, the city or the corporation of London is the seat of Rothschild power today that's controlling London and all of England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. So the corporation is ran by the Rothschilds, blood sucking the life out of the rest of the people outside of the corporation called Londoners. Underneath the ground of the Corporation of London is a double cross tunnel system which matches the flag of Great Britain. You call it Union Jack or Jack Union, but the flag of Great Britain, listen to my English brothers and sisters, was given to King John from Pope Innocent III through the Act of 1214. Pope Innocent III had designed a flag for King John of England in the form of a double cross, which represents a Vatican curse upon the British Empire to this day.
So this is my message to the world. This is the truth about our royal family, who so many of you admire. Today you're going to know who they really are, and more to the point, you're going to know what they really are. So many hundreds of thousands of children go missing every single year. And our civil servants will be able to vouch for this, because it's not on the mainstream, is it? It doesn't get out there. Over 100,000 children went missing in the UK alone last year. Did you hear about all them? No, it gets buried. Where do you think they go? In there. And all the other estates, crown estates, satanic cults take the children. They send people out with shopping lists, and you can see it up in the ante now. Your white vans, your black vans with your blacked out windows. You will see it. They are snatching children off the street. Why isn't it on mainstream media every single night? Why? Why is there a cover-up?
Now, there is a bloodline woman. You better hold on to your socks and pole on this one. There is a bloodline serial killer by the name of Elizabeth Bathory. Elizabeth, capital Elisabeth, Elizabeth Bathory from Bator, Hungary, had killed and mutilated over 600 women and children during, listen, the year of 1560. Wait a minute, wait. So Elizabeth Bathory would mutilate children, Pastor Stacy, drain their blood because she was a countess, a blood counter, and would pour the blood of children in her bathtub and would bathe in the blood of children that she mutilated, Pastor Colleen. That's why it's called the House of Bathory. Elizabeth Bathory. Her father was Stephen Bathory, who was the king of Poland, who's connected to the house of Wasserburgs, who's connected to the family of the Kosminskis in Poland that would produce Jack the Ripper, a blood progenitor that would produce Queen Elizabeth.
It gets worse.
A man by the name of Bartholomew Lewis de McCarthy would produce him and his wife a daughter whose name was Marie Delphine Lalaurie. Delphine, capital Delphine, Lalaurie. Oh, I'm screaming too, Pastor Sedina. Capital L-A, then capital L-A-U-R-I-E. Wait a minute. So Marie Delphine Lalaurie, on the Hanover side of Queen Elizabeth, was called Marie Delphine, Madame Lalaurie, who died in Paris, France. She had to leave New Orleans 4 years before her death in 1449. In 1845, Pastor Sedina, the legal system in the United States out of Washington came to Louisiana because this demon, Marie Delphine Lalaurie, had decapitated heads of black children and was sold the heads of these babies on the chest of their mothers while the mothers were chained to a pole in the basement of her mansion in New Orleans. The Lalaurie bloodline in the McCartys are connected to the Bathories out of Hungary, connected to your King Charles today, the House of Windsor. Oh, this is some serious revelation, Pastor Rankin. Marie Delphine Madame Lalaurie, she would cut off the heads of babies and sew them on the chests of their mothers, and would cut off the limbs of black male slaves and put them on the bodies of other male slaves whose arms and legs were cut off. Marie Delphine Madame Lalaurie. who's related to Elizabeth Bathory from the House of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, who is related to Madame LaLaurie from the Hanover side of King Charles. These are slave owners. These are killers. These people would bring matter. I'm talking about not just Elizabeth Bathory, but Delphine Madame LaLaurie would take the brain matter of children and to put them in a broth and would force their mothers and fathers to eat it. Who did that? Madame Delphine LaLaurie in the bloodline of the Hanover side, connected out of Germany and Ireland to the House of Windsor today.